Hi folks, this is John Kurikawa, and today I'm going to be trying several new and old ligatures and talking to you about the pros and cons of each. I've been looking for a replacement for my beloved Momo ligature ever since it broke. Its fragility is well known and is one of its strengths and weaknesses. So please check out part 1 in this mini-series to see what ligatures we checked out last time. The link is down in the description. And while you're at it, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. So, even without buying new ligatures, I own so many. Yes, it's a sickness. But I didn't let that stop me from trying some new ones, so let's have some fun. I was originally going to show you all of the ligatures I have in contention, but that video would be way too long. So in this video, I'm only going to cover fabric ligatures and cover metal ligatures in another video. To be fair, my main preference is for metal ligatures, but there are some interesting designs here I thought I'd like to cover. Some of these ligatures you see all the time, but there are others I want to show you that I don't see getting a lot of play on YouTube and deserve some attention. There will be some current models as well as some older ones. Now I know that a lot of you will say, you sound the same on every ligature, and to a certain degree, that's true. However, I also believe the effect a ligature has on the playing experience depends largely on the mouthpiece and reed setup you choose to use. Generally, in this one person's opinion, a responsive mouthpiece that has a good balance of overtones and flexibility will be more noticeably affected by different ligatures in the playing experience. A mouthpiece that tends to emphasize the fundamental has a great deal of hold and requires a much more pressure-oriented approach from the embouchure, in my experience, doesn't seem to be affected by different ligatures quite as much. Since I personally prefer a mouthpiece with a great deal of ring and flexibility with a close tip opening and a very medium reed, I definitely notice a great difference in all of these ligatures. But everyone is different, and the only way for you to know if you like a particular ligature is to try it. A ligature can play the reed too easily or too resistant, and this can cause you to bite to control the clarinet. This is not a good thing. So what should you look for in a ligature? As I said in the last video, look for a ligature that mimics the feel of your thumb. To lock things down a little bit more clearly, first, the ligature has to hold the reed very evenly on the mouthpiece. Almost every ligature I like seems to do this, although they all do it in different ways. Second, the ligature has to install quickly. If I have to do a quick reed change in rehearsal, I don't want to be fumbling around with my ligature and reed. Third, the ligature has to hold on the mouthpiece. The ligature must stay installed while removing the mouthpiece and switching clarinets. The last thing I want to do is switch clarinets and have my reed go flying into the air. Yes, this has happened to me before. Next, the reed must be held firmly on the mouthpiece table by the ligature, not loosely. This is a matter of personal preference, but for me, the ligature must hold the reed firmly against the mouthpiece table. When a ligature holds the reed firmly, this inspires the greatest amount of vibration from the reed. If the ligature holds the reed too firmly, this can stifle the reed's vibration, as can a ligature that holds the reed too loosely. So let's get started. If you see or hear something you'd like to check out, each ligature is linked down in the description, unless it's no longer available. I get a lot of requests in the comments to try Rovner ligatures. One of the most popular that I see out there is the Rovner Versa. The Rovner Versa has a lot of configuration possibilities. You can adjust the flaps of the ligature over the metal portions in a number of different configurations. For this test, I'm leaving the flaps behind the metal so the metal is the main point of contact on the reed, as this seems to work best for me. So, Rovner Knights, please stand down. I know this ligature is popular, and there are some very good clarinet players who use it. But for me, this ligature has the worst qualities of fabric and metal ligatures with none of the advantages of each. This ligature dampens response to the point where I can't even make the clarinet speak reliably. I notice a much duller sound and find myself biting more than I should to get the clarinet to speak. This unfortunately makes it a no-go in my book. I don't know why that is, but I wonder if part of it is the ligature material. It feels rather thin and unsubstantial, and it flexes very easily. There's almost no rigidity to it at all. When I was performing at Clarinet Fest in Reno in 2022, I got to try a new Rovner model, the Rovner Van Gogh. This design is really different from the other Rovners because of the crease in the portion of the ligature that holds the reed. On a side note, be very, very careful about trying equipment in busy exhibit halls or convention centers. All the noise around you, not to mention the terrible acoustics of exhibit halls, make it almost impossible to get a good take on equipment. Not to mention all the other clarinet players around you trying to play the same excerpt as you, louder and faster. If possible, ask if you can leave a deposit so you can try new equipment in a space that you're used to so you can really see how it feels to play, or maybe duck into a practice room. I think this ligature for me has possibilities. It doesn't dampen the vibration of the reed nearly as much as the Versa and has much better response. As it stands, it doesn't wow me the way it did when I tried it in the exhibit hall that summer, but I want to keep trying it. It definitely has potential. As an added bonus, it holds very well on the mouthpiece when switching clarinets. Years ago, I was performing at the International Clarinet Fest in Louisiana, and when I stopped by Michael Lomax's booth, his son Joel showed me some Rovner-style ligatures he had made out of snake skin. And this is real. He actually showed me a post with a bunch of snake heads on it. I wish I'd taken a picture of it. Joel claimed the snake skin was much more durable than leather and would never stretch out. Indeed, comparing this to the Versa, I find the material much more rigid. I can't squeeze it nearly as easily as the Rovner. This might account for the fact that the Lomax has very good response and holds the reed very firmly, something I really like in a good ligature. This ligature feels quite good, although it does tend to deaden the sound a bit. Additionally, Lomax Classic doesn't have this ligature in their catalog anymore. It does hold the sound very well, however, and also holds in the mouthpiece very well when switching clarinets. Next, we have the Humble Pine ligature. These are still made by Kyle Pine, just as this one was that I bought in 1993. These ligatures hold the reed very evenly and are similar in concept to the German string ligature that many German clarinetists still use today. Instead of wrapping and wrapping and wrapping and wrapping a string, you simply slip the ligature over the mouthpiece and reed and snug it into place. I really like the pine ligatures. The only problem is that they stretch out after a period of use. You can wet them and they'll shrink back up again, but this is something to keep in mind. They also come in different colors if that matters to you. In terms of hold on the mouthpiece, they're not the greatest, but I can definitely work around that. This one has a lovely sound that I like. I actually noticed because this ligature is a little bit lighter than the Lomax, it has excellent warmth, but also holds the sound very well and has a nice ring to it. You can't talk about fabric ligatures without talking about Silverstein. These ligatures seem to be really popular these days. This is a Silverstein Hexa ligature in pink gold that I bought in a weak moment for a ridiculous amount of money when performing a clarinet fest in Reno. Silverstein ligatures have adjustable toners. These vertical metal bands can be moved forwards or backwards to alter the response to your liking, and it does make a difference in my opinion. Having this kind of customizability to suit different reeds is quite attractive to me. So actually, I like this ligature a lot. It holds the reed fairly firmly and very evenly. It also responds very evenly and holds the sound well. However, the big problem with this ligature for me, besides the price, which I paid, is that I simply can't figure out how to remove the mouthpiece without the ligature coming off. Not only is this a huge pain when I need to swab while practicing, it's an absolute deal killer in terms of making a rapid switch between clarinets when playing in the orchestra. Yes, I could use the same barrel for my A and B flat, but I haven't found one that does equally well on both yet. So until I find a solution to this problem, the Silverstein is not really a good choice for me unless I'm only going to play one clarinet on a concert and I don't need to swab. Finally, my favorite non-metal ligature that I've been trying is the Woodstone Kodama 2. Woodstone are mostly known for their metal Ishimori ligatures, but they make the leather Kodama 2 as well. You may have seen me playing this ligature in a few of my other videos and shorts. This is a standard Rovner-like design, but instead of just leather, it has a piece of hardwood to make contact with the reed in a similar way the traditional Bonade ligature does. This use of wood in this way makes this ligature really unique, in my opinion. I don't see anybody else doing this. I really like this ligature. It focuses well, it responds well, and I like the sound. There aren't a whole lot of downsides here. Well, there are two downsides for me. My mouthpiece has a larger shell or circumference, and this ligature barely fits. Additionally, the added girth of this ligature, which is the thing with leather and many synthetic ligatures, means the cap is huge. It just won't fit very well in my case. On the other hand, it does look a lot like Darth Vader when it's assembled. So that's it for the fabric ligatures in my collection. Quite a few for someone who prefers metal ligatures, don't you think? I'm highly tempted by the Kodama 2, but I still have a boatload of metal ligatures to try. So stay tuned for part 3, where I'll cover more of the metal ligatures in my collection. What about all of you? Do you prefer metal or fabric ligatures? What are your favorites of each? Did you see anything new here that you're interested in trying? I'll look forward to seeing you in the comments. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.